Most people think legends are built over a lifetime, but for Tiger Woods, it only took 4 days. Before this tournament, Tiger was a 21-year-old with a lot of hype, but zero proof he could win on the biggest stage. In fact, for the first 2 hours of the event, he proved the skeptics right. He was playing so badly that it looked like his professional career was going to be a massive embarrassment. But then, something happened. Between the 9th hole and the 10th hole, Tiger changed. He didn't just start playing better, he started playing a version of the game that no one had ever seen before. By the time the weekend was over, he hadn't just won a trophy, he had forced the leaders of the sport to physically change the land just to stop him. So, what was this tournament, and what exactly happened during that 10-minute walk that turned a struggling Tiger Woods into a legend? This is the story of the 4 days that changed Tiger Woods forever, and here is how it happened. From the moment he could sit up, Tiger Woods was a force of nature. Before he could even walk, his father, Earl, a disciplined golfer, put a cut-down club in his hands. By 6 months old, Tiger wasn't watching cartoons. He was sitting in a high chair in the garage, mimicking his father's swing. Because he started before he could speak, the game became part of his DNA. At age 2, he was putting against Bob Hope on national TV. By 5, he was a celebrity in Golf Digest. This head start turned him into a wrecking ball. Starting at age 15, he did something that defies logic. He won 3 straight US junior amateurs, followed by 3 straight US amateurs, 6 titles in a row. By age 20, he was the most famous golfer on earth, but he was tired of being a prodigy. He wanted to prove he was the best player in the world, period. So, in August 1996, he turned pro with 2 iconic words, "Hello World." He immediately won 2 of his first 7 tournaments, but his success looked too easy. It lacked the struggle that the old guard of the sport respected. They looked at his 120-mile-per-hour swing and dismissed it as a reckless gimmick, a style they were certain would eventually hit a wall. That wall was waiting for him in Georgia at Augusta National. This wasn't just another golf course, it was a prestigious, intimidating fortress specifically designed to humiliate anyone who relied on power over experience. While the sport was used to finesse and patience, Tiger played with raw force and muscle, swinging so hard his feet often left the ground. The experts were convinced that Augusta's greens, famous traps for the arrogant, would be where Tiger's hype train would finally crash. They were waiting for the course to put the 21-year-old back in his place. Tiger stepped onto the first tee on Thursday morning, desperate to prove he belonged, but that desperation backfired. Within 90 minutes, the dream became a disaster, leaving everyone asking, how did he survive the next hour? It was Thursday, April 10th, 1997. At exactly 1:06 in the afternoon, Tiger Woods stepped onto the first tee at Augusta National. The air was thick with expectation, but by 2:30, the atmosphere had shifted from excitement to pity. The old guard were right. Tiger was playing with too much adrenaline and not enough control. On the very first hole, a 400-yard par 4, he missed the green and scrambled for a bogey. By the time he reached the par 3 4th hole, his muscle game was backfiring. He overshot the green with an iron shot that traveled like a bullet, carding another bogey. On the 8th, a par 5 that most players treat as a scoring opportunity, he was wild off the tee and walked away with a 6. Then came the 9th. While the rest of the field was playing conservatively, Tiger was trying to overpower the course, but Augusta's treacherous, glass-like greens were spitting his ball back at him. He walked off the 9th green with a score of 40. In professional golf, a 40 on the front 9 of a major is usually a death sentence. He was 4 over par and sitting in 65th place. The commentators were already sharpening their knives. Nick Faldo, the defending champion, was playing steady, boring golf. Colin Montgomery was looking like the adult in the room. Tiger, by comparison, looked like a frantic kid who had finally realized he was out of his depth. But as Tiger walked from the 9th green toward the 10th tee, a walk that takes about 10 minutes, something shifted. He didn't panic. Instead, he performed a piece of mid-round surgery on his own swing. He realized his backswing was too long and too fast. In those few minutes, he shortened his stroke, calmed his breathing, and decided to stop fighting the course. The kid who walked onto the first tee was gone. The legend was about to walk onto the 10th. What happened next is still studied by sports scientists even today. Tiger stepped onto the 10th tee and hit a perfect drive. He birdied 12, the famous par 3 over Rays Creek that has ended the careers of dozens of legends. On the par 5 13th, he reached the green in 2 and birdied again. By the time he reached the par 5 15th, he wasn't just recovering, he was hunting. He hit a massive drive and a towering iron shot that stopped on a dime, then rolled in an eagle putt that sent a literal roar through the Georgia pines. Tiger played that back 9 in 30 strokes. That 40-30 split is the most famous turnaround in golf history. He went from 65th place to 4th place in the span of 2 hours. On Friday, the massacre truly began. Tiger didn't just play golf, he went on a tear that felt like a glitch in the Matrix. He carded a 66 to snatch a 3-shot lead, but it was how he did it that terrified the field. On the 13th hole, he hit a 350-yard drive that left him with a short wedge into a par 5. Other players were hitting woods just to get close. Tiger was playing a different game. The veterans were starting to sweat. One of those veterans was Colin Montgomery. After 18 holes of watching Tiger launch moonshots over trees and bunkers that were supposed to be unreachable, Montgomery walked into the press room looking like he'd seen a ghost. "There is no chance," Montgomery told the reporters. "We're all playing for second place now. He's doing things we didn't think were possible." He was right. While his rivals wilted under the pressure, Tiger shot a 65 on Saturday, extending his lead to a staggering 9 shots. He had turned the unbeatable fortress of Augusta into a pitch and putt course. On Sunday, April 13th, the final round was less of a contest and more of a coronation. Tiger was a machine. He didn't make a single bogey on the back 9 all weekend. When he tapped in his final putt at 1 minute past 6 in the evening, he finished at 18 under par. The margin? 12 strokes, the largest in history. The age? 21 years old, the youngest winner ever. The record? He broke the scoring record that had stood for 32 years. Tiger had committed a statistical massacre. He hadn't just beaten the field, he had humiliated them. But as he put on the green jacket, the leaders of the sport were terrified. The victory was complete, but the retaliation was already being planned. To the governors of Augusta National, Tiger hadn't just won, he had committed a security breach. By using 120-mile-per-hour swing speeds to fly his ball over the very bunkers and trees meant to protect the course, Tiger had rendered their invincible fortress obsolete. To the old guard, this was an existential threat. If a 21-year-old could dismantle the most prestigious cathedral in golf with such ease, the sport's history was at risk of becoming a footnote. The response was a physical transformation of the entire course itself, a process known as tiger-proofing. In the years following 1997, Augusta National underwent a massive, multi-million-dollar overhaul. They added hundreds of yards of length, moved fairway bunkers to deeper, tiger-range distances, and planted massive trees to block the aggressive lines only he could take. It was a literal redesign of the earth, funded by the fear that one man was simply too good for the game. Yet, this retaliation is exactly what transformed Tiger from a champion into a legend. Most athletes are measured by the trophies they win. Tiger is measured by the fact that the most powerful institution in his sport had to physically change the landscape of the world just to try and stop him. He didn't just beat the field, he beat the ground they walked on. The 1997 Masters was more than a tournament. It was the moment golf's old world died. Augusta National, a place built on tradition, exclusivity, and the crushing of young egos, had finally met a force it could not contain. By winning by a record 12 strokes and forcing a literal reconstruction of the most famous course on earth, Tiger Woods transcended the sport. He proved that he wasn't just a child prodigy or a kid with a fast swing. He was a historical shift. Today, every power hitter and every athlete golfer is a descendant of those 4 days in April. Tiger didn't just change the leaderboard, he forced the world to change its shape just to keep up with him.